Good morning, everybody. This is Peter Ortmann speaking from IRIS, located in Germany. Welcome to our webinar, Digitization and Automation for the Philippines. I'd like to introduce to you Shiraki-san from Canon Marketing Philippines. Shiraki,
Okay,
would you take over, please?
sure. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I really thank you so much for joining Canon's webinar. I am Yasuhiko Shiraki. I have been working in the Philippines since 2018. I'm responsible for B2B products such as copier, scanner, surveillance camera, and software we talk about today. Before we start, let me introduce my colleague, Arnold. Can you wave your hand? Arnold? Okay. He is the head of solution business in Canon Marketing Philippines. And you can see two more gentlemen. One is Peter, Director of Business Development from IRIS. And Akim, Business Development from IRIS. You may think that, what is IRIS? It is Canon's group company and software we introduced today. By the way, you can find a chat box in the right side of your screen. We welcome any questions during the webinar. If someone raises a question, all of you can see it. Later part, we will have a Q&A session. We will try to answer it. However, we may not be able to answer all questions. If you have a same question as a person asked, you can upvote. By doing this, we will prioritize which question we should answer first. If we cannot answer your question, our account manager will approach you and answer you later. Yes, this is the agenda we are going to cover today. First, now I am covering introduction, and then later we are going to talk about our software IRIS, and then demo, and then Q&A session. Peter, next, please.
Yeah.
Thanks. Who could have imagined the current situation? I am feeling that we are living in a different world. Work from home, quarantine, lockdown, social distancing, travel ban. Honestly speaking, most words were new for me. Initially, we thought the storm of COVID-19 will pass very soon. However, it seems that we have to live with it for a certain period. Under this situation, we foresee that digitalization will be accelerated because we have to access information online from anywhere. And also, we may have to be mentally ready for the recession if this tough situation continues. Anyway, we will have to make our companies, your company, sustainable and profitable to survive. Peter, next page, please. Let me share with you one slide showing our product. What I would like to highlight is that Canon has a comprehensive product portfolio from input to output. Needless to say, we have a printing device. I hope you have been using it now. Thank you very much. And also we have a scanner, and we have document software that can do indexing, archiving, and retrieving. Next page, please. One core value Canon offer is business can be simple. We would like to make a contribution for you to achieve optimization and cost reduction. So today, please allow us to introduce our technologies that will empower you to do digitization and automation to fight and address challenging work scenario. From now on, Peter will talk about our product, IRIS. Okay, please, Peter.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Shiraki-san, and welcome also from my side. My name is Peter Ortmans. I'm actually sitting in my home office, probably most likely as you do as well, but okay. I'm unfortunately in my basement. That's why I love this picture, looking out from a skyscraper. And what you see here is one of the latest pictures I took when I was in Manila in end of November last year. And indeed, I was also scheduled to be back in Manila again in January and maybe even later this year. But unfortunately, in January, there was the volcano eruption. Actually, there is Corona. And what I need to recognize is you guys, you suffer a lot over there. That's really, really a pity. However, in the actual Corona situation, of course, Shiraki-san already introduced to it, that has an impact. It is not only that people are infected, the economic system is co-infected, to say it like this, for all the measurements and lockdowns. And due to this, people and organizations have been asked recently, so this has been published last month, this opinion poll, and organizations expect that 57% will need to change their operating model due to the situation, due to the impact of COVID-19. So definitely, you're not alone. Not only that, I'm sitting in my home office as you do. There are lots of other companies who face issues due to the COVID-19 situation. And of course, as it always is, there are coming up jokes. And there is one that is also related to our industries. You see here, who led the digital transformation of your organization? Was it the CEO? Was it the CTO, or was it done by COVID-19? And most of the people indeed need to smile a little bit, but yes, COVID-19 is is somehow guiding organizations into to strengthen their ambitions, introducing the digital transformation. So yeah, somehow it is indeed like this, that you can cope with COVID-19 by stepping into your digital transformation. So the idea is, of course, to stabilize the negative spiral, then from there on to recover your business, then develop it again, and by doing so, to prevent against similar issues, similar situations in future. So organizations also have been asked by AIM, which is an industry organization focused on digital transformation and document automation, document processing automation. And they have asked, for example, how important is the digital transformation to your organization? And as you can see, for 79%, digital transformation is key anyway. Why digital transformation? And let me refer to this by Dr. Alfredo Pascal, who was the 20th president of the University of the Philippines. And during a conference, the APPC, taking place by the end of December 2019, so not that long ago, he stated, to be able to tap business opportunities in the evolving digital economy, digital transformation is key. This must be done, or else a company will be left behind. So why is this the case? If we take a look a little bit into the history, it is not the first major change where we got in touch with automation. And so if you take a look, for example, in the manufacturing industry of automobiles in the 1930s, you could see, okay, a lot of manual work, and in total, 4.1 million vehicles have been produced. When we look into 2020, there are just robots in the fabrication, yeah, but all in all, on a global level, more than 100 million vehicles are produced. So the idea is of the digital transformation, it is the use of technology to radically improve, especially performance, what means productivity, relationships, processes, and value. This definition is not coming from me, it's from the MIT. So diving deeper into what is digital transformation, you see a lot of things are touched in your organization: the customer focus, the organizational structure, transformational changes, technology decisions, integration, digitization, logistics, supply chain, etc. pp. Just let me highlight a few of them, because the major idea of digital transformation is to move away from a product focus into a customer focus. So from this idea on, you can deduct all the rest of the criteria they are touched by digital transformation. And what we definitely can see there, that digitalization is one of the core parts. The integration of systems is another one. Changing in order to fulfill the customer focus, changing your logistics, changing your supply chain is also necessary. But what you learn especially is what we speak about anyway in any of the details is we speak about change. So there is, of course, a change of a culture coming up inside the company, the organizational change, the communication between company and employees, enabling the employees also to deal with all these digital tools they are asked to use from one step to the next. However, how to step into this change. So, as Shiraki-san already stated, business can be simple. And what we would like to emphasize you is eat the elephant in pieces. Do one step at a time. Yeah, you don't need to do everything. Although, by the way, you do step by step everything. So the first phase, welcome, you're already in. Yeah, you have done the step from digitization. So converting by scanning hard copies into soft copies, physical documents into digital documents. You might also receive a lot of digital documents already by different sources. So the next step then is the digitalization. What means automate dealing and processing all this information that is coming, receiving, that your company is receiving. And due to this automation, you can say, starts in your email room. So of course, not every communication is coming in by email, but it is increasing number. Anyway, there's physical documents coming in that should be scanned. And this is what we would like to speak about, where to start. Yeah, and it is always good to start where the information enters into a company. So why digital mailroom automation? There's another opinion poll, another analyst, market analyst, who is stating that 82% say of the questioned people say that it is challenging to name or tag a document to ensure that it can be easily found by colleagues. And due to this, 93% are unable to find documents because they are badly tagged or named when they are filed. Yeah, and 73% even say, okay, maybe the issue is also that there are no clear guidelines put in place by the organization, but how to, if it is not aligned to put it in place. And that's why finally 82% say, of course, it would be beneficial to have a system that can do that automatically for me, because then I can put in the rules how to get the files named, yeah, and I can make sure that the software always deals with the same rules. So I always have a clear principle put in place how the files are named. And how do we do that? We do that based upon content. Yeah. So why digital mailroom? And this is leading one step deeper. AIM again has asked last year lots of organizations. I think typically they ask around 1,000 organizations. What are the most urgent automated document processing challenges in your organization? Please name your top 3. And these are the results. So I've taken off this survey, then the top 5 that have been mentioned as their top 3. Yeah. And the primary one was having to work with different processes, systems, and interfaces where content plays a central role. Yeah, and that's, as said, one part of digital transformation, one step to centralize, to harmonize all the different systems, because that is necessary to keep the data consolidated and harmonized. Otherwise, you cannot operate with the data. Then manually classifying and routing documents as they enter your organization. This is what we learned from the topic before as well. Receiving documents from different channels, such as mobile devices, the internet, or other digital channels. So what is necessary there is a tool that allows you to cope with all the different entry channels of information. And then having to manually sort and enter data from a document into a system, what means manually entering data from documents. These are the top 5 issues companies are facing when they speak about how to get the content of a document into a system so that I can operate it. Yeah, and that's the good news. So of course, Canon can help. Yeah. What we are going to offer is Iris Extract for documents. Iris Extract for documents is a so-called one-stop shop. It's a content to process platform, or as we say, an IDR, Intelligent Document Recognition Platform. I don't want to dive into all the details because we will see later on some slides from Achim and also a demo, but just highlighting from input, throughput to output. What does it do? It can deal with any kind of source. So all the import channels that you face are covered. It also allows a seamless integration into any kind of subsequent system to provide the structured data it creates. And what kind of structured data can it create out of unstructured content? It can chop documents automatically. Imagine there's one PDF file coming in, but this one PDF file contains 2, 3, 4 or more documents. So what you needed to do before is, okay, maybe you need to print it out, separate it, scan it in again, or you had some tools to chop it manually and create manually some digital files. This is what Extract can do automatically. It just takes a look into the content and decides about the start and the end of a certain document within a file. Yeah? And after that, it can sort, it can classify these documents. What does it mean? Extract identifies the type of a document. Yeah, it says that's an invoice, that's a purchase order, this is an application for a job, and so on and so forth. Of course, based upon the idea, what class does a document have, you can route it now into the process, into the subsequent processes, because the class triggers the process. Yeah, and then when we know which class it is, we can identify some indexes. How that works, what does it mean to speak about free text searches? Achim will explain you in a couple of minutes. Yeah, and then it comes to formatting. There are different options how the output can look alike, also from the data structure point of view, as well as from the file format point of view, including compression technologies, etc. pp. So intelligent document recognition, what does it mean? For 70%, intelligent capture is a key element of the digital transformation. And of course, that makes sense. As mentioned earlier, if you deal with unstructured information coming in from different sources, yeah, you only can introduce automated workflows, robotic process automation, etc., if you have structured data available. If this is not given, you're losing the basis. And that's why we provide you or propose you start your journey into digital transformation with automating your email room. Yeah, starting from there, because 74% say indeed turning unstructured content into structured information is significant. And of course, then 72% say IDR is related to artificial intelligence and machine learning. And yes, there's another good news. Of course, our IDR technologies are based upon, since the very beginning, and very beginning means mid of the 80s, are based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. How that works and what kind of things we do have, I would like to ask Achim now to explain you in some more details.
Yeah, Magandang hapon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm joining here from Singapore. Usually, I travel quite often to the Philippines, to Manila, where the Canon headquarters of the Philippines is. But at now the time, I have to join in by a web meeting. Before I introduce you more into the extract solution, I would just to emphasize again on our question, let's say, tab. You see in the webinar, on your right, you see a question tab. I would like you to put in any question you have around this solution you see today, around Canon offerings, around digital transformation. And if you like that question someone poses, you can just upvote it, and later on we will have a Q&A session where we dive into these questions. So the only way to communicate to us is throughout this question box, so please make use of it. Thank you very much. Okay, Peter already explained on a high level what Iris Extract can do. It will take care of your incoming information you receive in your company. And we also explained already, it can be on multiple import channels, and it can be various kind of documents. So I want to illustrate you now on a very few slides how Extract principally does that. And I will give you a short live demo to give you a glimpse on how the technology works and how it would feel for you if you would use this kind of technology for your business. Okay, so let's start. The first step when you receive documents for your company is to figure out what is the document. Because depending on the document, there is different departments in a company probably concerned with it, or you are only concerned in particular information, what is on the document. So the first thing, let's say the artificial intelligence or your software should do is to identify what is the document type. And this is what Extract does in the first step. You see this here on the slides. We have 3 documents. And when I just start the animation here, you will see, firstly, we will analyze the OCR. That means we will translate this document into machine-readable format. And then we run another layer of technology, which is called intelligent document recognition. That term, IDR, was already mentioned by Peter in his previous slide. And you see this here on the picture that some phrases are highlighted. And these are phrases where the machine learning engine of Extract knows these are, let's say, more important for litigation letters. So phrases which makes this content of letter more to a litigation letter, not a claim letter or an HR application letter. So that means the system can learn based on samples how to classify and find this information automatically. The next document here, you see it's a semi-structured document that Extract can automatically classify, okay, that's a delivery order. It's not an invoice, could also be an invoice, but Extract is clear here. There are more features, so we highlighted here the yellow features, which relate to a delivery order. And the last document is the invoice. So the same process, we run the OCR, we run the IDR, and then we can classify the document automatically. When I speak about OCR, so about optical character recognition, so translating images into machine-readable information, we support more than 140 languages, and the classification I just demonstrated you is based on advanced machine learning. What is now missing is we need also some information from these documents, and I want to illustrate this now on the invoice. And this is what we call free-form indexation. Let's have a look at an invoice sample. If you receive an invoice like that, of course, very simple sample here, the first thing we need to do is to convert it into machine-readable information if it is not already a digitally born PDF document. So we need to run an OCR layer, and you see this is the result the machine gets from the OCR. This is only, let's say, a bunch of numbers and some words. Now, this invoice could be a completely different layout from vendor to vendor, but the system needs to automatically identify the items like the invoice number, the date, line items, text information, amounts, etc. And again, this is done by the IDR layer, the intelligent document recognition layer. And you see what Extract can provide you is what you see on the right-hand side. We will provide you, this is the invoice number, that's the invoice date. We do calculations on the line items for you to figure out, okay, this is 5 items, there is some surcharges here, there are different tax amounts, etc. So this is how the IDR layer makes sense of the just figures which have been created by the simple OCR. Which also means OCR is a term which is everywhere around. So everyone talks about this kind of OCR technology, but I think what makes it different is what Iris can provide is the IDR layer. So really understanding the information, not just translating it to machine readable information. Let me quickly jump to a live demo of our system. So this is now the Iris Extract platform. This platform can be scaled from 1 seat to, let's say, distributed high scalable throughput system. So we can cater for, let's say, a few thousand images per year to millions of images. That's all supported. Let's assume for the scenario that someone in the front desk of your company just scan a batch of pages, like using the Canon multifunctional device, right? And there's an image runner, and you put the paper, you put it into the image runner, you press the button, and it scans all the pages. So then the result will likely be just one PDF file containing all the documents you just scanned. And what it can then do in an automated fashion would be, it could be just dropped into what we call hot folder or watched folder. So let me drop this PDF here. And this, of course, can be done automatically from any device. And Extract, as you can see here, will automatically import this file. Let's have a quick look at the file. So this is the PDF file. I open it for you. What you see here is it consists of 9 pages. The first page is a delivery order. You just saw it in the classification scenario. The second page is an invoice from Canon Philippines, actually. So Philippine invoice. Then we have a 3-page HR contract from your employee. And then we have another invoice from a British company, another invoice from the Philippines, and a purchase order. There is no separator sheets in between. There's no barcodes. It's just a bunch of pages which have been scanned. And what Extract will now decide is, it will decide what document needs to go to what department. And it is very important that this is only a demonstration scenario. Of course, we can automate your complete mailroom, but usually we start with just one process, for example, accounts payable or human resource. Let's say we start with a process where you have the most of the volume. So let's assume now, let's have a look what the system does. So we go into a verify station. The verify station is used by operators to check on eyeball on what the system is doing. So once I open this application, Extract application, I get a notification, oh, there is new information waiting for you because we just imported this mailroom batch. What you see here, this PDF file has been automatically chopped into 9 documents. So now we not only have one PDF file, we have 9 documents. And for each document, and you see the preview here in the center, Extract will decide which department should take care of the document to extract more information to start a business process. So the delivery order goes to the distribution department. I just confirm that. The invoice obviously needs to go to the accounting. You see the HR contract of 3 pages has been automatically split out, classified, needs to go to HR. Yeah, we confirm that. Accounting department for this invoice, accounting department for the other invoice, and last but not least, the sales department should receive the purchase order. This is just what I explained to you some minutes ago on the slides, the classification scenario. So just understanding this document should go as an invoice, and the invoice should go to the accounting department. Once I confirm that, let's say my job is done here at the front desk, and now let's assume I change my hat and I am now working in the human resource department. So I have not seen anything of the previous steps, and it's just like I'm in human resource now, and they receive a notification here, there's some document waiting for you. So let's have a quick look. There is the document from the PDF file. And what you see now is the indexation part. So first of all, we have a more precise classification result. We see, okay, it is an employment contract, so not only HR document. Then we have identified automatically, this is the employee, because in your company, you have a database where all your staff is listed. And Xtract can connect to that database and just match anywhere on the document where the name is mentioned or the address or the insurance numbers. You can pick up this information automatically and assign, okay, this is your employee hire here. What we also do is we will capture the document date, and Iris supports, let's say, all prominent document date descriptions on this planet. So long months names, short months names, even Japanese doc date or Chinese date information automatically. And you see, this is freeform based because this is a lot of text here, but Xtract can automatically find the position where to capture this information. That's all we have to do from the HR department. Let's quickly go to the invoice department. And of course, if you're interested in these kind of solutions, please liaise with your account manager. I'm very happy to give you a demonstration, or someone from Canon Marketing Philippines. They can also give you a demonstration on your on the platform, or demonstrate even on your own samples. So send us your invoices, for example. So you see here, this is now the accounting department view. And Xtract, maybe I need to explain it quickly. Xtract is not an accounting software. Xtract is just, we do the first step, as Peter explained. We do the digitization and digitalization step. So we make sure that this invoice goes automatically in your accounting system, no matter if it's SAP, if it's Microsoft Dynamics, Xero, Laserfish, QuickBooks. There are a lot of accounting systems on this planet, and we can provide the data for any of them. So what you see is we will capture the vendor, we will capture the invoice number. That's of course the most crucial information here on the invoice. We will capture the invoice date, but we will also automatically capture all the line items, including tax rates, surcharges, discharges. And we have the value of goods, the net amount. We have the tax rate of the Philippine here, 12%. So the system knows what a Philippine invoice what tax rates are applicable. We have automatically the tax amount, we have the gross amount, and we have a currency check that is Philippine peso. And this is freeform based. So when I jump now to the next invoice, you will see completely different invoice, but it's the same technology. We don't need to change anything here. So this is a completely different invoice, but the process is the same. We have the invoice number, we have the vendor, we have the invoice date, we have a whole of a bunch of line items. And what we can even do is we can match with your purchase order data. So we can see if the invoice is matching to your purchase order data and assign one line item from the invoice to the line item of the purchase order. And here Xtract asked for some clarification. So yes, I clarify this for one line item. The rest was automatically matched. And then you see this Xtract document is already approved. I don't need to check anything more. I can just quick jump to the next document because the rest is checked by internal checks. Let's confirm for the last invoice. Yes, that's the correct invoice number. And yes, it is an invoice, not a credit note. And then we're done. All the fields are automatically captured, and Xtract will only highlight those fields which require human intervention. If we have captured all data, then you would never ever see this invoice in the verify or in the Xtract system. It will be automatically in your accounting system. Now, I don't have an accounting system here on my computer, but what I do have is a therefore. You know that Canon is also carrying solutions, not only Iris, but also therefore. And of course, Xtract needs to provide this data to a subsequent leading system. In my case, this is therefore a document management and workflow system. So you could assume now, when I go to my accounts payable department here, that some workflow will start now on the invoice. You see, I just have loaded the invoices. So now you see here, this is my Canon Marketing Philippine invoice. That was the third one. I can also quickly open it. And you will see a preview of the image again, of course. It's also supported full text because, I mean, we already do the full text OCR, so you can do a full text search in your system if you don't find the invoice. But you also see here the invoice number, the invoice date, invoice amount. So all the fields have been automatically populated so they can easily sort and find your documents. And not only for the invoices, if I go to my human resource department and I now do a refresh, I see the human resource document I just processed with Extract. So you see here, I find the employee and there's his marketing manager, and I can just check his record. And of course, this record is quite small at the moment, only one document in the record. But you see here, this is the employment contract we just scanned earlier, but it's now organized in a record for this customer, and it's organized for the human resource department. So what I've shown you just now is a live demo of the Iris Extract platform. What you also might have already see is this is independent of the vertical. So you see on the left-hand side, these are the Iris customers worldwide. So this is in any kind of vertical, can be manufacturing, can be healthcare, banking, finance, whatsoever, logistics. So all kind of industries can make use of this technology because it's flexible, because it's AI and machine learning driven. And we speak about more than 3,600 installations worldwide, and we can scale it from, let's say, only 6,000 images per year, which is roughly like 10 documents per day, to 250 million images per year. It can be a single process, like only accounting, or we can have all your processes and departments on the same platform. And the message here is, this is 100% intellectual property by Canon, so you can get it from Canon Marketing Philippines because Canon is Iris, and Iris is Canon. I'll hand back to Peter right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Achim, for this introduction and the live demo. To sum it a little bit up, let me stick a little bit longer on this slide that you see. So Achim already mentioned. Each from 6,000 images to 250 million images. Even less volume is possible, but then we need to indeed see how it works for you, what kind of return of investment you can expect from this. However, of course, to pick up one of the questions that has been raised already, it is doable, of course, for startups. Even if there is no infrastructure given. I will come back to this in a couple of minutes with the dedicated slides. Just to recap what Achim has shown you, we are working with, as said, artificial intelligence. And this artificial intelligence means that the system doesn't know upfront where the information is in which format on the document. There is just the assumption that there is information on a document. So if you assume that you say, okay, something in this document might be necessary, might be important for my processing, then the system is capable to identify what kind of information is on it. That's at the end of the day the idea of classification, because as said, when you identify the class of a document, you know which process is related. Once you know the class of a document, you can identify the data that is necessary for the workflow in this process. And that means we are using then a kind of robotic process technology to identify either rule-based or even based upon some particular learning on the fly, how to capture which kind of information. Usually we are working on a priori knowledge, things that you know before, where we know what we need to look out for example, for invoices, and that's what you have seen there, what Achim has presented. But it's also capable for any other kind of semi-structured document, like delivery notes, like purchase orders, etc. But also static forms can be captured, even up to completely unstructured documents like letters. This is what you have seen on the example Achim has given you, based upon the based upon the HR classification scenario. Okay, so if we speak about all this artificial intelligence and machine learning stuff, the question is always the same. Okay, for what is this helpful? Yeah. So let me just introduce you into some use cases. From this point of view, that's a digital mailroom solution, what means classification. And here in particular, it's not the HR department that, as Achim has highlighted. Here we speak about, for example, the University Hospital of Aachen. This is one of the biggest, one of the five biggest. It depends which criteria you take. And one criteria it's the biggest one, and another criteria is the fifth biggest one. So let's say one of the five biggest hospitals over here in Europe, and they have introduced it besides a lot of other hospitals to classify their patient records. So we have had use cases also in Canada where hospitals were dealing with more than 1,000 different classes. To be precise, more than 1,200 different classes. This is nothing a human being can do anymore. Nobody can distinguish on the fly 1,200 classes, name them, and then capture the necessary data from it. But the computer can do. So machine learning means we train the computer up on samples, yeah, so that it learns how to distinguish between different kinds of documents, and then it adapts this learning and identifies the similar criteria on other documents. Therefore, it is reasonable to train the system upfront. Although once put it in place like this, you can also train new classes on the fly. But it's better to start with a certain amount of trained classes. Yeah, this is what we see here. For example, at the university here in Aachen, other ones are using it for patent records. So the European Patent Office is using it for this purpose, as well as Daimler is using it, or Siemens are using it for their patent records. Other ones do contracts. Then we have the legal sector where it comes to case management. Case management also is necessary in manufacturing, etc. So there is not about to dive into the details and capture any kind of indexes. It is indeed the step up front. Identifying the class for sorting and routing means classifying, identifying the class to trigger the right process. Another case study, for example, is Restack that has been provided by Canon Solutions America to this manufacturing customer. And they indeed use the entire bandwidth of Canon that Canon can offer. It started with the image runners where then Restack said, hey, you guys, that's quite nice technology. What we also need is to automate our document processing. Once we receive the documents in a digital format, that's cool. But we need more. And so Canon was able to offer, look, this is extract for documents that can deal with any kind of your documents. But Restack in the first step decided we go for the invoices. That's the highest pain point that we actually have. And so they introduced extract for documents to capture any kind of information from their invoices. And then they passed it over to Therefore. And within Therefore, they put in place all the workflows for approval, etc., that were necessary for them in this situation. And meanwhile, they think about to enlarge this installation by dealing with delivery notes and other document classes. Let me guide you through a third reference, and here in some more details. This is EDS. EDS is a logistics company, and what I would like to explain you is a little bit about the background and what was the effect of introducing extract for documents. So before they introduced extract, everything was done manually for them. And that means they got delivery orders from their customers. And these delivery orders were sent by email. And in this email, there was one PDF attached. And this PDF was existing between 20 and 30 different delivery orders. So what they did is they just received the emails, they printed it, then they scanned it again to work further on the separated documents. and then they needed to enter all the necessary data for their logistics planning, because they were tasked by these delivery orders from their customers to pick up goods on position A and deliver it to the points of sales, in this case, all over Germany. The volume of delivery orders they got was 60,000 in a year. That's round about 90,000 images, what means each document has each delivery order has 1.5 images in average per document. So in order to process this manually, they needed 4 to 5 hours a day. And they engaged 2 to 3 employees to do this stuff. That is, of course, related to costs. Yeah, the costs to drive this process manually were around about $120,000 a year. But more important for them was the subsequent processes, their core processes, yeah, to deliver the goods. They got stuck because all the drivers needed to wait until all the documents have been processed. They needed to know, okay, I need to pick up goods here and here and there, and then I need to compose it differently to put it on the lorry and drive it to the point of sale. That's why for 4 to 5 hours, all the lorries got stuck. Nobody knew when does it start, yeah, because it was a certain bandwidth to start then the distribution, and so they were losing money because, as you know, if the core process is to earn your to make your money with the delivery, then of course putting these resources on hold means you're losing money. And that was the reason why they reached out to us and said, you guys, we have learned you can offer something beneficial for us. Show it to us. We received some sample documents from them. We put that in place in a custom demo. We got back, and immediately they were convinced. Yeah, because what they recognized was after, and that was at these times before they took the decision, only the projection, but what they recognized after is they only need now a half hour per day. So from 4 to 5 hours down to half an hour to 30 minutes, and only 1 employee is engaged. Yeah, that led to the fact that they can keep their SLAs better and also allocate the resources, the vans, the lorries better to distribute the goods, because they are now on the road 3.5 to 4.5 hours earlier than before, and that day by day. What for them means they can make more now with their resources. They have more capacity now to pick up more jobs, yeah, and make more money out of that. So if we dive there into a comparison of investments and earnings, you of course see that they have saved money. That's definitely one of the major targets of introducing automation technology. But however, the most important benefits for them, and you can see that also in the video that we have for this about this customer story, they said the major part is the business development that is related exactly to this, to the introduction of these technologies. And due to this, although now saving money and saving resources for employees, they had no layoffs because they increased their business. Okay, this leads me to the 6 typical reasons of introducing automation technologies and Canon's intelligent document recognition solutions. Of course, there's cost reduction, eliminate redundancies, automate simple and repetitive tasks, reduce the turnaround time, improve the handling time, lower the holding time, and better the SLA fulfillment for your customers. Remember, digital transformation, customer focus. Yeah, then there is the process quality, rule sets to avoid errors and to increase the accuracy. There is process transparency as one criteria to be hit, enhance the financial controlling on runtime, yeah, enable statistic process control, and enable the compliance and auditability, maybe of governments, maybe of your customers, in whatever situation you are in. Then, of course, there's the process flexibility, deal with the change, yeah, what means reduce the setup times for such technologies, create a process consistency, and of course, set then the stage for further RPA. Yeah? And yes, as mentioned, the business development. So it's not only saving, it's the opposite. Grow, yeah, grow based upon the introduction of these technologies. And picking also up one other question was, as said, the question about the small, medium-sized business, or maybe some startups. What we would like to emphasize you don't need to start with a whole bunch. You don't need to start with the entire mailroom. Just as mentioned earlier, keep it simple. Start simple and then scale. Scale according to your needs. So consider to start your digital journey with just structured file naming. Yeah, just get out of the files, either email, either scan files, or wherever they are coming from the content. Pick out the necessary information like document type, who is the sender, what is the document number if given, and what is the document date. Put that as a file name, and then put it maybe just on your file system if you do not have an ECM system. Yeah? So these the right hand side, the database, it could be, of course, any kind of ERP system like SAP, like Navision, whatsoever. It could be an ECM system. It could be a SharePoint. It could be a Google Drive, OneDrive, whatsoever. Where you are dealing with your documents, where you put it in place for your employees. All this can be covered just by extract for documents. And the idea, you wouldn't be alone. There's 69% of the companies who say that they store and manage documents out of their email box. Yeah, and 93 of them, as we have learned earlier, don't find documents because of bad naming or tagging. And this is what we like to emphasize you for. Think about, let's say, an easy step, because business can be simple. Yeah, and next step from here on, before we move into question and answers, Achim already mentioned, reach out to your Canon account manager and enjoy the offering that we are actually have prepared for the COVID-19 situation, because we know in which situation you are in. Yeah, you need help. You need help to stabilize, to recover, to develop your business, and then to prevent. And what we are going to offer is get 3 months free of charge of this piece of software. And maybe exactly due to this, just start with an easy case, just start maybe with file naming. But if you say, okay, I have indeed a very important process like invoice processing, like my sales orders processing, or any kind of classification scenario, please just reach out to your Canon account manager. They will introduce you into the next steps, how to get this. Yeah, thank you so much from my side. Let me now introduce Mr. Arnold and Dyer to you, who will guide us and moderate through the question and answer session. And I've seen there are already some nice questions, Arnold.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So first, thank you, Peter and Akim, for a very, very excellent and well-prepared presentation. So yeah, as mentioned, we were able to see a lot of questions being posted here. Some were answered already by us, but probably Akim can elaborate the top one, which is, do we need to create document classification before scanning?
Yes, a very good question. Yeah, we showed you today a whole bandwidth of the solution, but I also mentioned that if you only like to start with one business process, for example, your accounts payable or purchase to pay process, where you only deal with invoices, then of course you don't need the classification step, because you know everything you put into the system is an invoice. So that means you don't need classification. Classification is needed either when you take about several different business processes, like I showed in the demo, because then you need to classify, okay, this goes to HR department because it's a contract, this goes to the delivery department because it's a purchase order, or invoices to accounting department. The second scenario for classification, as Peter explained, is like case management solutions, like patient records in hospitals, insurance customers, law firms with their customers, with law cases where you need to classify the document and assign a document to your client, right? To make sure this document comes in gets classified, whatever litigation, and then it's your client and gets put in the correct archive so you can find the document more easily. And you can also think about an automated workflow notification that some particular staff who is handling this client gets automatically informed to pick up this case.
Okay, thank you again for that. So I hope Akim was able to answer the question. So another one is question is from Resty Tolentino. This process can be linked to SAP system. Yes, it can be linked. So output of the system can be captured. The index and metadata can be pushed to your SAP system. It can be done.
Maybe I can just add on to that. We can do even more when it comes to SAP. Because you know that some part of this technology was developed in Germany, and SAP is also a German company. So that means most of our customers are actually SAP customers. So we can even think of providing you a fully embedded SAP solution. But let's discuss this offline with your account manager.
Okay, so I'll pick one more question. Okay, for another person. For a startup company without any system or database, is this applicable?
Yeah, this is indeed what I mentioned earlier. So, of course, as said, the automation starts in your mailroom. You are already receiving, even as a startup, we are receiving information, content from your peers by different channels. Maybe you get them by email, maybe you get them physically and might need to scan it. Then Extract for Documents can help you in the first step to just easily create the file naming to archive those documents. And if you do not have a ECM system yet and just using your file system, then of course, yes, we can put it into your file system according to the structure that you have prepared there. Maybe it's not the best way, but if we look then into the future, of course, Canon can provide then also therefore for your archiving purposes and improve your digital journey step by step. Yeah, but as I said, everything starts in the mailroom. Yeah, so maybe you consider that. And indeed, we offer different kind of pricing models to cover that. What I actually try to emphasize is go for subscription fees, especially in the case of a startup business, because that is reducing the upfront investment. Maybe you have indeed maybe not an issue, but of course you need to observe your liquidity and your cash management.
So thank you, Peter. So I think that's the last question that we can answer. So if we cannot answer all questions today, our account managers will follow through on these questions and will send you the corresponding and appropriate responses to these questions. So with that, so I'd like to thank all the guests who attended today's webinar. So thank you for taking time. So I hope you were able to benefit from the concepts and the actual cases that we presented. Well, Canon is always available to share to you these technologies that can help you digitize and automate to adapt to the new norm of today's time and address the challenges brought about the pandemic. So I would also like to thank our brothers from Iris, Peter and Akim. Thank you again for that excellent and well-prepared presentation. We really appreciate it. Shirake-san for the support and all the account management team who efficiently sent out invitation and facilitated confirmation of the attendance. So with that, I close the session. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day ahead. Yes, Akim.
Sorry, before you close the session, I still a very important note. Do we get a presentation deck copy or recording? There will be a recording available and also the presentation deck. Please reach out to your account managers. They can provide you with these.
Thank you, Akim. So thank you very much again, guys. Have a wonderful day ahead and stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much.
Stay safe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.